Text messages between two surviving roommates from the home in Moscow, Idaho, where 4 university students were killed in a home invasion stabbing attack have been revealed publicly for the first time in a newly unsealed court filing. The roommates, identified in court documents only as DM and BF, appear to have been awake and discussing the possibility of a masked trespasser approximately 5 minutes after the attack. DM has previously been identified as the only eyewitness who saw the intruder, a masked man with bushy eyebrows, in the 6-bedroom house on King Road. Based on her statements to police and audio from a security camera next door, the attacker is believed to have left the house shortly after 4:17 a.m. on November 13, 2022. The attack left 4 people dead: Madison Majin, 21, Kaylee Goncalves, 21, Xana Kernodle, 20, and Ethan Chapan, 20. The filing reveals text messages that DM and BF exchanged between 4:22 and 4:24, as well as texts DM sent to some of the victims before dawn and again around 10:20 a.m. Prior to the texts, DM tried to call BF and 3 of the victims. None of her calls were answered. "No one is answering," DM wrote to BF. According to the filing, "I'm really confused. Kaylee," DM wrote in another text. "What's going on?" DM also appeared to reference the intruder she later told police she encountered when peering out of her bedroom door. She referenced something like a ski mask, almost like he had something for sick is for head and little n mouth. BF urged her to run downstairs. According to other court filings released this week, DM spent the night in BF's room and an unnamed person called 911 from BF's phone around noon the next day. At 10:23 a.m., DM texted both Majin and Goncalves. "Please answer," she wrote. "Are you up?" She then called her father around 11:40 a.m. Timeline of November 13, 2022. 4:00 a.m. Suspect arrives at house. Between 4 and 4:17, time of murders. 4:19, roommate calls 3 victims. No one answers. 4:22 to 4:24, surviving roommates text each other from inside house. 4:27, roommate calls victims again. No one answers. 4:32, roommate texts Goncalves, "Please answer." 10:23, surviving roommate texts victims. No one answers. 11:39, roommate calls her father. 12:00 p.m. 911 call placed from roommate's phone. Prosecutors are asking the court to allow them to introduce the texts as evidence. Prosecutors allege that police found a car knife sheath under Majin's body that had DNA on it that led them to the suspect, Bryan Kohberger, a 30-year-old former PhD student who was studying criminology at the nearby Washington State University at the time of the crime. Separately, the court also released a transcript of a frantic 911 call that reveals multiple callers spoke with the dispatcher trying to explain that they had found Kernodle unresponsive and someone had seen an intruder the night before. Additional filings made public Thursday evening include a list of records that prosecutors plan to introduce as evidence and yet another defense motion seeking to have the death penalty removed as a potential sentence if there is a conviction, this time arguing that prosecutors have failed to meet discovery deadlines. Striking the death penalty is the only remedy that begins to adequately address the prejudice to Mr. Kohberger, defense attorney and Taylor wrote. Even with a hot documents list and detailed expert disclosures, the minimum necessary for this case to proceed to trial. Counsel is at a massive disadvantage given the limited resources as compared to the state and the fact that only 5 months remain before trial. The prosecution's evidence ranges from Kohberger's banking and shopping records to surveillance video on the night of the crime. Prosecutors also plan to introduce National Weather Service reports from November 12 and November 13, 2022, which could potentially challenge Kohberger's alibi about driving around looking at the moon and stars during the time of the crime.